I want to directly go to the time management techniques. And as my previous presenter has said, and even the introduction done by Dennis right now, that we all have 24 hours on this planet. No one actually has 26 or 24.5 or 24.3. All of us have 24 hours, and therefore how we use our time really matters. How we use our time really matters. And we all know that time is one of the most expensive resource on the planet. I know we have things like health and other things, but I can assure you, and already all of us know, that time is one of the most expensive resources that we have on the planet. Now, I would like to begin with some two quotes that I came across. I want to begin with some two quotes I actually came across today, as I was also trying to finalize with the preparation and all that. Number one is this: that the bad news is that the bad news is that time flies. That's the bad news. But here's the good news: is that you're the pilot. Let me repeat: the bad news is that time flies. But here's the good news, is that you are actually the pilot. This was spoken by Michael Atsula. Give me a minute. Let me share the screen and all that. Are you able to see my presentation? All right. So sorry about that. I was saying that we have 24 hours only on the planet, and as we said, that time is one of the most expensive resource that we have on the planet. And there are these two quotes that I came across, and one of the quotes was that the bad news is that time flies, and the good news is that you are the pilot. That was done by Michael. And I also came across another quote that's very interesting. It says this: time is life. To waste your time is to waste your life. But to master your time is to master your life and make the most of it. Let me repeat: time is life. To waste your time is to waste your life. But to master your time is to actually master your life and make the most of it. This was said by a gentleman called Alan Lacane. So welcome to the time management techniques presentation. My name is Alex. I'm a corporate trainer here at the Institute of Advanced Technology, and I'll be taking you through this particular presentation. So before we even go further, what is time? Let us define what time is. So time is according to Merriam-Webster, time is the measured or measurable period during which an action, process, or condition exists or continues. It is actually a measured or measurable period during which an action, process, or condition exists or continues. In bracket, that is duration. That is defined by Merriam-Webster. And also we have some definition here from Cambridge Dictionary. They say that time, that is the part of existence that is measured in minutes, days, years, or etc. So this process is considered as a whole. Now, for the guys who normally run 100 meters race, I don't know if the record has been broken yet, but we know one of the fastest human beings on the planet was Usain Bolt. He's actually Usain Bolt. And I think he was doing around 9 point something seconds. So it can also be measured in seconds. So therefore, what is time management? What is time management? So time management, according to what we have here, is a system that allows you, it's just a system that allows you to plan your things, your work in advance, and then give it exact amount of time you're likely going to take, or you want to allocate to perform a specific task or task per day. So that is basically what time management is. Simply a system that you put, or an organization has put, that allows one to plan out in advance the exact amount of time they will want to allocate to performing a specific task or tasks per day. But therefore, what is time management technique as a whole? Therefore, we can combine the two and say these are specific methods that one can employ so that when implemented into our daily schedule, they can help us advance how we manage our time properly. Still remember this. Is one of the most expensive commodity or resource that we have. Then why is time management important, apart from us knowing that it is one of the most important resources that we have on the planet? If you're looking to have, or rather we're asking, what are the benefits of time management? To borrow some points from John Scott, if you want to maintain what you call a work-life balance, you need to know how to manage your time well. Maybe you're working a couple of hours at work, and maybe you have a family at home, or you're a student, you have around 8 units to handle in a semester. How do you ensure that you've allocated enough time for each subject so that you can perform well in all of them? So the following are some of the few. We have plenty of the benefits of good time management. Number one, you're going to experience what you call increased productivity. You want to be as productive as possible. So one of those is you're going to be very productive. And I'm sure all right, so we were saying that one of the benefits is increased productivity and also reduce stress. Remember, when you have an exam to study for or a task to prepare for, and we know how deadlines normally get there fast and all that. So if you want to reduce stress because you have so much you haven't done, you need to start by managing your time very well. So also part of that, the benefit you're going to get if you manage your time very well, it is better control of your workflow. You have control of the sequence of events of your day, your week, your month, and your year. So any person who has mastered the art of managing their time well, they are going to experience better control of their workflow. Last but not least, we also have ability to consistently meet deadlines. There's nothing as bad and as stressful if you've not met your deadline. I kid you not. It's something that can make you be anxious or even have high levels of depression and stress because you're not able to finish what you're supposed to finish at a given deadline. So now, according to the University of St. Augustine's for Health Sciences, they say the following, like, how we choose to use and organize our time is something many of us struggle with. So they're talking about time management and all that, but actually doing the work requires you to put a lot of work into that. So effective time management allows us to make most of our day. We are going to accomplish tasks more quickly. We are going to have better priorities in life and in our day and in our 1 hour that you have or our 24 hours. So different people, depending on who you are, then you're going to choose a time strategy or a time method management technique, depending on who you are. If you're a student, then you need yours that is customized based on what you need or what you need to achieve in that semester or that particular period of that time, study time. You also may, if you're a professional, the same applies. You need to have your own different strategy and all that. If you're a visual person, you may need a color. You may prefer what you call a color-coded calendar of a written to-do list and blah blah. So that's why you normally see managers and CEOs or any busy person. One of the things they've actually incorporated into their life is having a diary. And let me tell you, if you're at the top, if you're at the top in terms of in any organization, a diary is one of your close friends, because you have so much to do and you need to list down what you're supposed to do, let's say in a day, in this month, or in this year and all that. So diary is one of those tips that you need to have to manage your time. But I want us to look at the following 9 techniques. These are famous, common techniques that we need to look at for today. I know there are a couple of many techniques outside there, but let us look at these and see what we can learn from there. So technique number 1 is called the Pareto analysis, also known as the 80-20 rule, the 80-20 rule. Now, what is this technique all about? Number 1, this rule was actually created by an Italian economist called Vilfredo Pareto. This rule was created by an Italian by the name Vilfredo Pareto. The idea behind this is that 20% of the actions you're going to take are going to produce 80% as the result. Like 20% of actions are responsible for the 80% of outcomes. So this helps you to prioritize tasks that are most effective at solving problems. So you have so many problems that you need to solve either in a week or in a day or in a semester. There are only few things that you can do, 20% of them, that are going to give you 80% of the outcome. So how does it work? Let me take you through how it works briefly. So number 1, you need to list some of the problems you're facing. For instance, for example, you're a student and you feel like your grades are not like how you want them to be. So the first thing is you need to identify a problem. So identify the root cause of each problem. So once you notice that your grades are not as amazing as you may want them to be, you identify the root cause of each problem that you may have. Maybe you're watching a lot of Netflix, there's a lot of social media, maybe you're replying to emails here and there without like a specific time for replying emails or calls and all that. So those could be the reasons why maybe your grades are not at where they're supposed to be. So once you list all those things, this is what you need to do. Assign a score to each problem. So you have all those problems. Maybe it's your grades, maybe you're not able to deliver at your workplace, blah, blah, blah. So which one is the most important? Your grades, your workplace, and all that. So you need to assign numbers to more important problems. Like I'm sure all of those that I've named are very important. And once you do that, you need to group all of those problems together by cause. For instance, group together all the problems caused by spending too much time on social media. Too much time on social media, what kind of problems, like the percentage and all that. Once you do that, add up the score of each group, and therefore the group which has the highest score is the issue that needs to be worked on first. The group that has the highest score is the issue that should work on first. So the 80-20 rule means that if you take that group which has the highest score in terms of that, you're only probably going to minimize your social media, you're only going to prioritize maybe sending emails during morning hours, and by doing that, it has solved many of the things that normally waste time during your day. So instead of answering emails after every minute, instead of going to see who has commented on your Facebook picture, blah, 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 have a time out for such so that you can be able to do that. So with that, you'll be able to achieve 80% only by spending 20% of actions that are going to do that. So after you take the action that is needed to be taken, you will enjoy the benefits of this rule. Now look at this. What are some of the people who are likely to benefit from this technique? Number one, we have what we call the problem solvers, or even leaders. This one is going, or even CEOs or managers. I know some CEOs or managers who normally have a time of checking the social media, they have a time of sending emails, blah, 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 and all that and all that. So we also have analytical thinkers. If you're a person who is an analytical thinker, it is a rule that is going to work for you so well, and so well. So that is number one. What about number two? There is another one called the Pomodoro technique. It was created by the entrepreneur and author called Francisco Cirillo. This was the founder of this particular rule. Now, this one uses a timer, like you time yourself in every task that you do. You have a timer. Nowadays, we have phones, they have timers, or you can use your watch, wristwatch, or any type of watch. You set a timer depending on what you want to do. So each interval is known as what you call the Pomodoro. No wonder where the name came from. It is named after the tomato-shaped timer. I think you can see how a tomato shape is and all that. So this is Cirillo who actually created that tomato-shaped timer that you're talking about. So how does the Pomodoro technique work? Number one, you choose a task you need to get done. Number one, maybe you need to finish a report. Maybe you need to finish an assignment. Maybe you need to, whatever task you need to do, choose a task you need to get done, and then set a timer, either 20 minutes or 25 minutes, or you want to use 30 minutes on that particular task. And then focus on the task at hand. Don't focus on, I'm supposed to do another task. I'm supposed to look at chemistry. I'm supposed to look at coding with Python. No. Focus at the task at hand. And when the timer rings to say that 25 minutes are over or your 30 minutes are over, put a check mark on a piece of paper to show that, all right, I'm through with this, or I'm supposed to be done with this at this particular time. So this one gives you pressure. Pressure is good depending on who you are. And I'm sure for most leaders, they consider pressure as a good thing because it pushes them to do what they're supposed to do. So a timer kind of puts pressure on you, which is really good, so that you can be able to finish that instead of procrastinating and all that. So once the timer is up, take a short break. Take a break for about 3 to 5 minutes. Go for a walk. Grab a cup of coffee. Do something that is non-work related, so that you can give your brain a break. And then after you come back to the same task or to another new task, repeat the steps 2 to 5 times. And once you have completed this process 4 times, you can begin to take longer breaks of 30 to 45 minutes or 20 to 30 minutes and all that. Now remember this, it could be a project, maybe you're working on your master's program. This technique will actually help you to do that. So who are the type of people who are likely to actually benefit from this? Number one, you have people who are creative thinkers, people who need time to actually finish a task. Could be a thesis, could be a proposal, could be a research paper. You need to do this. It's going to help you a lot to also prevent burnout and all that. Number two, those who feel burnt out from work or school. I think I've talked about that. And also, we need to know that this technique does not just teach your time management, it also teaches you on setting goals and how to achieve them. So with this, you're able to stick to your daily schedule and week schedule in a very wise way. So we are saying these are not the only techniques, but these are some of the famous techniques that highly effective people are actually using outside here to ensure that they finish the work they are supposed to finish. Another technique I want us to look at is this one. It's called the Eisenhower matrix. It's also a very famous technique that is being used outside here to ensure that people are maximizing their 24 hours. one of, as we said, very expensive resource, a very expensive resource. So Eisenhower matrix comes from the name of a former U.S. Army by the name Dwight Eisenhower, who also became the president in 1953. So he served in the U.S. Army as an Allied Forces commander during the World War II, and he was, when you're at the top there at the army, or when you're making key decisions, you have to know how to manage your time. So he was faced with difficult decisions every day that led him to actually come up with such. So you call it the Eisenhower matrix, or it's also called the urgent important matrix. Very famous. I've seen this technique in other books, many books that I've come across and all that. So how does this work? Number one, there's what you call a quadrant. A quadrant means four parts. You need to organize your 4 parts the following way. Number one, you need to have important versus unimportant, and urgent versus not urgent. So that forms a quadrant. I'll show you the picture just below. So this is how it looks like. Let me show you. So this is how it looks like: important, urgent, not important, not urgent, blah blah blah. So, and then you take the tasks that you currently have on your desk, and then you group them here according to what is important and urgent, to what is important and not urgent, to what is not important but is super urgent, but to what is also not important but not urgent as well. So whatever is important and urgent, those things need to be done as soon as possible, ASAP. So urgent and important tasks that need to be done right away. It could be a crisis in the office. That one you have to solve. If you're a manager, if you're a CEO, managing director, and all that, if there's a crisis in the office, you have to solve that. You can't, maybe you're trying to look at the targets you've been given. You can't really even concentrate on doing that report. You have to actually solve that crisis in the office, or pressing deadlines that maybe you need to look at. Could be also a report that you need to submit to your higher bosses. Is something that is very important and it's urgent. So it's upon you to develop that. You can use a piece of paper or your diary, group all those things like that, and then start with the most important. This is a very powerful technique that can help you achieve so much in life and in your study as a student, even be able to achieve good grades. We also have not urgent but important. So these ones you have to decide. These tasks are important but not urgent. Like going to the gym, you can, if it's not really that urgent, you can say, you know what, let me go tomorrow. Let me handle the revision because I have an exam tomorrow. You can actually reschedule the gym. But as you can see, it's important but not urgent. Time with family, sometimes there are things you need to finish somewhere. If it's the work that puts food on your table, there are some things you need to put and all that. But remember, family is very important. So that's why we're saying this is very important, but it may not be urgent at that particular time. We also have the not important but urgent. So what do you do? What do you do with the not important but urgent? You delegate. Give other people to do that. You can schedule meetings. You can also schedule appointments and all that, and things will still run so well. But in a situation whereby you have not important and also not urgent, you know what you need to do? You can delete, because it's neither urgent nor important. So some personal calls, you can be able to forgo them and maybe do that later when you're totally free and all that. Social media, every now checking who has liked your photo sometimes, it's not that important compared to that report you need to submit to your bosses. So who are some of the people who are going to benefit from such? People in leadership positions. Oh yes. If you're in any leadership position, you are a student leader, remember you need to balance your grades and you leading students in campus, university. You need to balance this. And also critical thinkers are some of the beneficiaries of such. Because of time, I would like to move to another another technique. It's called the Parkinson's law. This was the British historian Cyril Northcote Parkinson became famous for the phrase "work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion." In other words, the amount of time you give yourself to complete a specific task is the amount of time it will take you to complete that task. Because you pressure yourself, like you give yourself 1 hour, this is the 1 hour that I only need to be able to finish this. So how does it work? One thing we need to know is that this is not really like a time management technique per se, but it's like a law, such that when understood, is very beneficial for time management methods outside there. This means that you work more efficiently in shorter bursts of time. And here are some of the management tips according to this law. Try working without a computer charger. You have this report you need to submit to your boss or assignment you need to do. You know what you can do? Switch off the socket that connects your charger to your laptop and say, you know what, I'm supposed to finish this thing before my charge actually goes to zero. So this will force you to finish your project before your computer dies. Amazing technique, as you can see, guys. Also, getting it done early. So instead of finishing an essay by midnight, maybe you had said, you know what, I'll do this by midnight. No. What if you say, the first time I come to the desk early in the morning, let me do it fast. Guess what? You'll have enough time instead of finishing it at midnight. What if you set a deadline? Give yourself a deadline. Give yourself a set time to do something and then cut it in half. If you wanted to do that in 1 hour, push yourself to do it in 30 minutes. And you'll be able to free up time to do other things. Maybe to do an online course, do something else and all that. Also, what about limit time for tasks? Give yourself only 20 minutes in the morning to answer emails. Like what you talked about, you only have 20 emails to answer emails, and then after that, get to work. Do your work. Tomorrow morning, 20 minutes, answer your emails, or once you're through with what you're supposed to do, check if you have new emails later after the tasks are complete. So who are the types of people who are likely to benefit from such? We have what you call the procrastinators. I know most of us procrastinate. You know what? I'll do this tomorrow. You know what? Tomorrow is a holiday. I can do that. I can actually handle that. You know what? I can handle that next week. Next week you have a couple of time. No. Do the work that needs to be done so that you have enough time to do other things that are beneficial to you. So also people who work well under pressure. Oh yes. As I told you, like getting off your computer charger so that you can be able to finish your tasks. I mean, that is pressure. So people work well under pressure. This is also a very nice law to work with, or technique that can help you finish your work. I remember when I was in campus, there was this guy, I won't mention his name here. We've been given an assignment or a project, a certain project to do early in the morning, let's at 8, around 9ish and all that. The guy by 5:30 is done. And remember, we were given around a week to complete. The guy by 5:30 in the evening, the guy is done with the project. And us who are like, you know what, I have time. I know I'm not the only one. Most of us were like this. But nowadays, at least I've improved, I can say. We used to wait until the deadline. Many Kenyans normally are people of the deadline and all that. That's when we are like, oh, I'm supposed to do this, blah, 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 and all that. So I think if we apply these laws, we'll be able to have enough time, less pressure, and less stress, because we'll be able to have saved enough time. So the other technique is what? Time blocking method. Now, the time blocking method is another famous technique used by a very famous person here. We all know Elon Musk, who's known to be super productive. The guy works for 80 hours in a week. Okay, that's a lot. 80 hours in a week. 80 hours in a week. And still makes time for what? For himself. So what is the secret? The secret is simple. You use this rule of time blocking method. So how does it work? From the moment you wake up, you need to assign time block in your day to a task. They can be anything from eating breakfast to studying for a test and anything, finishing a report, answering your emails, answering your phone, all of those. Block the time. And then you need to divide a piece of paper into 2 columns. On the left, write down each hour of the day, like from the morning you wake up to the time you go to sleep. And create what called blocks of time, such as half hour or hour chunks. And then you need to estimate the time it's going to take you to complete that particular task, and then fit them into your time blocks. That's what you do. And you can see, like the other one, this one is also there's some sort of pressure and all that. So you need to add what you call buffer times in between each time block to allow for flexibility. For flexibility, you know, somebody say that one of the key traits of great people is flexible. They are flexible. In life, you need to be flexible as well. I know you've set that time like that, but also ensure that you're flexible so that you can be able to achieve amazing things as well on the planet. So what kind of people can be able to benefit from such? We have people like working students or parents, and also people like people who are analytical thinkers. Also, we have this other technique. We have the getting things done method. Get things done. This was created by this author by the name David Allen. This process helps you to get things done by recording tasks on paper and then breaking them down into actionable work items. This is like somebody who has a to-do list. Most of us are familiar with the to-do list. Also works best with me and other people. Once you're through with the task, you put a check, and then you get motivated. I'm telling you, it's one of the most effective way of also managing your time. You put some. I normally put some rectangular shapes or square shapes, and then I put a task next to it. So once I'm through, I put a check. It motivates you to actually get things done. So how does it work? Number one, capture the actions that have your attention. For instance, these actions are tasks that can relate to anything from work to school to your personal life, and then clarify what they mean. Organize your actions, prioritize what the to-do list we're talking about, and then reflect. Review your list of actions frequently to determine your next priority, and then cross off tasks which have been accomplished or tick that box. And then after that, engage. Take actions or small tasks you can complete right now. I kid you not, I normally love this. It is one of the ways that helps me finish my task on time. Something you can also try from your end. So who are some of the people who are going to benefit from this? People who struggle to focus on one thing at a time. Like you have this and this, I think we've talked about that. And also people who feel overwhelmed in their daily lives. So if you're a manager, if you're heading something and you feel like you have a lot to do, this one is also another method that can help you do what? That can help you manage your time or your daily activities in a good manner. It's only because of time I will have actually gone deeper with this, but try that. It works amazing. You can use your diary actually to have those things there. In fact, all these methods that we've talked about, a good diary will actually help you with that. Number 7, we have the RPM, that stands for Rapid Planning Method, or Result, Purpose, and Massive Action Plan, developed by Tony Robbins, who is a motivational speaker, as a way to train your brain to focus on vision, on what you need, what you want, so you can make it real. So how does RPM work? It's very simple. Number 1, capturing. Write down all tasks you need to accomplish this week. As you can see, these things are almost similar. They're almost similar. They're also related, kinda. So, and then you do chunks, your tasks together by commonalities, those which are closely related to each other, which items are personal, which are school related, which are career focused. And then after that, you also create blocks like the other method we saw. On the top of a new sheet of paper, make 3 columns: the task, the result you want from completing that task, and your purpose for completing the task. After that, you list the actions you're going to take to get there. So it's very, very detailed. After that, you create an empowering role for yourself. For instance, if you're a student, you can call yourself the study queen. All right, you can call yourself the study queen to motivate yourself. This is anything that gets you psyched or just about completing your goal. Personally, I was studying the U.S. Navy SEALs, how they are able to accomplish their tasks. So back in campus, I used to have a book, an exercise book of around 48 pages, and whatever I need to study, I call myself a study SEAL or the Navy SEAL. So when you call yourself the Navy SEAL, you can picture yourself as a Navy SEAL who needs to accomplish a certain role. And true story, that worked for me in campus so well. So create an empowering role for yourself. You can call yourself a study queen. You can call yourself a study Navy SEAL, anything of the sort, or a study soldier. So when you picture yourself as a soldier, you want to accomplish the things as given by your commander. The other thing that I used to do is that I take 2 roles in me. I'm the commander as well as the soldier. So you command yourself to finish the report, and then you act as a soldier so that you can be able to obey the first command of doing what? Of finishing the report. So we have so many techniques that you can be able to do that. So who are the people to benefit from this? Working students or parents again, and people who have long-term goals. Any person who has long-term goals, it is something that can be able to help you. So another technique, because of time, is what you call the pickle jar theory. The pickle jar theory. I want you to picture a jar that has the following. It's full of sand, pebbles, and rocks. Those 3 things. This theory helps you to figure out what is useful and what is not useful in your daily lives. So it is like ascending order or descending order, whichever way you may see it. So it allows you to plan with tasks with time to spare, and set priorities for your day. So we have the sand that represents disrupting elements of your day, such as phone calls, we have text messages, we have emails, we have social media, etc., etc. And then the pebbles on this other side represent what we call the tasks that need to be completed but can be done on another day or by someone else. And last but not least, we have what we call the rocks. These are the most important tasks that need to get done today. So you can see like sort of ascending, descending order there, and then you choose from there. Now, you begin by thinking about how your tasks for the day are going to fit into the above categories. Now, it's you to picture what becomes the pebble, what becomes the sand, and what becomes the rock. It is you to do that. And once you do that, you now start with the most important, finishing with the least important. So what are some of the people who are going to benefit from this? These are visual people who like to visualize how their week is going to be, how their day is going to be, how their 1 hour is going to be, how their 24 hours is going to be spent. And also we have the concrete thinkers. The concrete thinkers are also people who are going to benefit from that. So you make a task list starting with the rocks and ending with the sand, if time permits. Last but not least, we have the eat that frog technique. Eat the frog technique. Eat the frog technique. You have a list of tasks to accomplish, and then you have that big one. You know that how do I get rid of this other one? You know what? Start with it. start with it and get rid of it as soon as possible. So this technique is named after Mark Twain's quote, "Eat a live frog the first thing in the morning, and nothing worse will happen to you the rest of the day." So start your day by doing the most onerous task first and getting them out of the way so that you can deal with those ones you're super comfortable with. So how does it work? Very simple. Number one, get clear on a goal. What do you want to achieve most? Then write it down, set a deadline, compile a list of all things you need to achieve your goal, organize this list in an order of priority. Of course, the most important at the top, least important at the bottom. Take action. If you have more than one frog on your plate, what do? Eat the nastiest one first. I mean, this is amazing. The one you feel that, you want to code with Python, you want to code with Java, you feel this one, all right, this is, I need this, because I know if I let it be the last, I may not be able to meet the deadline. So start with that first. So repeat this cycle every day so that you're always doing something that will push you toward your goal. So what are some of the types of people who are going to benefit from this? Abstract thinkers, people with long-term goals. Remember, if you have any question, there's the chat section even after listening to this, and then you'll be able to answer the questions. Now that you're done with those techniques, here are some of additional time management tips. Number one, some of these things are a repeat of what we talked about. Number one, setting goals correctly, prioritize wisely, set a time limit, take breaks between tasks. Number 5, organize yourself, remove non-essential tasks, and also plan ahead. These are also going to help you do that. So as we finish, what are some of the implications of poor time management? You see, the good thing, the first presenter actually touched about how to manage yourself well in terms of studying and all that. Here are some of others. We have plenty of them. Here are some of the implications of poor time management. Number one is poor workflow. You don't have control of the sequence of activities in your day. It's going to mess you up, ending up you suspending the entire day so that you can start over again tomorrow. And if you don't have a good control of your day, the same applies. So poor workflow, there's wasted time, there's loss of control. I've talked about that. There's also poor quality of work because you don't have enough time to finish your work. You end up doing shoddy work, which also paints a bad picture, or a bad reputation, as you can see, point number 5 here, of you. You don't want your employer or the people around you to say that, all right, this guy never finishes tasks on time, or he never finishes work, or he does a shoddy work. No, you don't want that to happen. So as I said, we have numerous tips. We have numerous ways of managing your time, your week, your month, your 24 hours. And yes, so these are other additional strategies because of time. Number one, you start your day with a plan. You prioritize the most important tasks. You limit distractions. You leave the emails for later. You reduce what you call multitasking tasks. Block time off on your calendar, like the how Elon Musk normally does that. Know when to say no to meetings. You cannot attend all meetings. Say no to meetings that you feel like this one can wait, but this one can't wait. Summarize and review your day. Look ahead in terms of week and months, and also take time to recharge. Yeah, rest is very key. So when choosing a time management technique that works for you, ensure that you know who you are, you know what you want to achieve as a person, and then from there you can choose the best one that works for you. And one thing we need to know is that as we wind up with this presentation is this, that at the end of the day, it is you to know who you are, what you want to achieve, and then pick a technique that fits you. And you're not tied to one technique. Every now and then you can choose either Parkinson Law, you can choose the one for blocking your calendar, you can choose the one for Pomodoro's technique. You choose the one that will work for that task at hand. So mastering your time management guess what? It will set you up for success in all areas of your life, whether you're a student, a manager, a professional, whichever area that you work with. So let us do that. So in case of any questions, you can be able to leave that in the chat section, and then we'll be able to answer you. If it's about the learning methods that was presented by my fellow presenter, or if it's about how to manage your time even more effectively, you can be able to ask questions, and we'll be able to do that. So the most important, no, not the most important, sorry, it is actually one of the most crucial and expensive commodity on the planet, that is time. You only have 24 hours. How are you going to use your 24 hours to become, to be at the optimal levels in terms of career, in terms of as a student, in terms of if you're a manager, if you're a CEO, whatever profession that you currently work in, or whatever company you work in and all that, how are you going to use your 24 hours to ensure that you manage them wisely, and you also have time for your family and time for your recreational activities? So my name is Alex, and I've been it was a pleasure to do this, and I wish you an inspirational career growth. Thank you so much. Back to you, Dennis.